Okay, so you probably just completed the sun salutation A and B. You can continue that if you want to do something a little bit more vigorous. Right now I'm going to take it down just a notch. We're going to be working on standing and flexibility. So there's going to be some mobility, there's going to be some motion and movement, but I'll try to do my best to talk about where your body should be on your mat, okay? So we'll start out, I'm going to just turn this way so you can see, okay? So I'm going to start out by stepping my feet out about hips distance apart. Okay, so that's about 2 fists away from each other, right? That's about how far you should be. All right, you bend your knees just a little bit. And forward fold. All right, so I'm going to take my peace fingers, wrap them around my big toes on the inside. Wrap my thumbs around to my peace fingers, and inhale, lengthen the chest. And then you're going to exhale, just forward bend. So you're taking your torso down to your knees. Notice my knees are not completely straight, right? They're bent a little bit. So then just draw your head from side to side. And release the tension in your neck. If you can begin to straighten your legs, but keep that intention of keeping your chest against your knees the entire time, okay? And drawing your head towards your knees. If you draw in your lower core, it'll actually help you to go a little deeper. So each time you exhale, see if you can draw it in more. Okay, inhale, lengthen the chest. You may need to bend your knees to do that. I'm going to take the palms of my hands under the soles of my feet. So you may have to bend your knees super deep to do that, okay? So from here, I'm walking my toes all the way up to that crease. I'm going to inhale, lengthen the chest. And then exhale, bending the elbows maybe, and forward folding. You may be able to straighten the legs, but it's okay if you want to just be right here and hang. So we take 5 breaths, drawing the lower belly in with each exhalation. Okay, so now inhale, lengthen your chest. Take your hands out from under your feet. I'm going to just place my hands up on my hips. Inhale, rise up. You're pushing with your legs to come up. Try not to just lift with your back, okay? So I'm going to step forward and look at you. Okay, so I'm going to mirror you just in case you want to watch, right? So even though I'll be doing my left side, you'll be doing your right side, okay? So just so we're clear about that, but I'll still say my right side, okay? So we're going to step our feet out really nice and wide. So when I say wide, I mean about your legs distance apart. Some of you have long legs, you may want to step further. I would probably start with a little closer and then just gauge and see how it feels from there. So you're going to turn your right foot out, and you're just turning it out into a 90-degree angle, kind of pushing your hip out to the side. And now we're going to bend from the hinge of the hip and then slide your hand down your leg. Okay, so notice the length in the side waist here. I'm not arcing right here, right? Lengthening right through here. And then I can reach the hand up towards the ceiling, okay? You can turn your head up, or you can look down. So this is called triangle pose. If you can reach a little further, you can grab onto your big toe and use less of that force of like pushing down on your hand, and instead draw up through the hand as you push down through the toe and feel the length in the front of the body. So on our next inhale, we're going to rise up. So press into the back foot, inhale, rise up. Okay, pivot around, same thing, other side. So bend from the hinge of your hip on your left side, reach out through the side waist, and then take that hand down. And turn your head to look up. Just let that hand fall anywhere it feels good. Remember, you just want very little weight in the hand. It's okay to use it, you just don't want to put all your weight there. If it hurts your neck to look up, you can look down. You can also grab onto the big toe. Let's take 2 more breaths. So next inhale, we're going to rise up. Okay? And now I'm going to take my hands to my hips, walk my feet in just a little bit, pivot both feet over to the right. Okay? So this is a little confusing, okay? So right foot is forward, left hand's gonna come over to your right thigh. Okay? You're gonna turn your chest like you're gonna place it against the wall and then reach up that top hand. Try not to let the heel come up in the back. Just press down into it. Press your right hip back. And then if you can keep your chest open, you can slide your hand down a little further. Deep breathing. Okay, so we're gonna lift up, come all the way up, okay? Pivot around. So turn your hips to the left. Left foot is out 90 degrees. The right foot is gonna turn at kind of a diagonal, like a 45-degree angle. Turn your hips, okay? Now, right hand can slide down the left leg, okay? You're gonna turn your chest as if you were placing it against a wall. Press back in your hips, try to even out your hips. That left hip is gonna try to push forward, so try to push it back, okay? If you can't do that, then slide your hand up a little further and see if you can find that mobility. Just keep breathing. Stay with your body. Okay, inhale, we're gonna lift back up and step the feet together. All right, so this time we're gonna go a little wider, all right? So even if you are pretty new to this, I want you to go pretty wide. All right, so I'm gonna turn out your right foot, my left, right? We're gonna bend the knee. Elbow can come down to the knee. If that doesn't go that far, your hand can come down. Elbow, maybe your hand comes down to the ground, okay? Top hand reaches up and over. So you want to create a straight line from that back heel all the way through the sideways, up through the top hand. Turn the chest toward the ceiling. Breathe. We're gonna lift up, come up, straighten the leg, pivot around, same thing, other side. Okay, so your left knee, my right. Okay, taking the hand down. Anywhere that feels good. Remember, you've got these options. Here, here, here. Okay, straighten out through the side waist. Think about turning that knee towards the center of the foot. Breathe. So I'm looking down, but you can also look up if that feels better to your neck. Just be really mindful of what your neck is feeling and how you're breathing. And if it feels too intense, you can always back off a little, okay? Come back up. All right, this one's always a little tricky, okay? So you can place your back knee down, right? So I'm turning over to my left side, you'll be on your right, okay? You're gonna be turning away from me. So you're gonna take your left elbow over your right knee. You're gonna twist, all right? Eventually your hands will come together. Press in your hands. So you don't wanna just turn your chest towards your knee. Actually start to turn your chest towards your prayer hands. Here, I will face you on this one, okay? So staying in that same position, you're pressing into your hands. You're twisting heart towards hands. If this feels good, you can begin to straighten the back knee, okay? You can even start to pivot the back heel down. It's quite a bit more challenging. You really want to think about keeping that knee towards the center of the foot, okay? All right, so I'm gonna lift up and swivel over opposite side, okay? So elbow comes over the knee, so you're on your left side. Right elbow comes over, hands in prayer. Twist your heart towards your prayer hands. Okay, that feels good. Start to lift up the back knee. I should mention, if this is difficult, right, you can also just use your wrist and twist, like so. Okay, so this is a modification. All right. Deeper version, hands in prayer. curling back toes, straighten the leg, sink into the hips. Okay, so we're gonna swivel, come up, and turn to center. So I'm just gonna turn towards you, so step your feet together, turn towards the center. All right, take a breath. Now, next one, step the feet out nice and wide, okay? So I'm going about a leg's distance, so you can maybe step a little further or a little closer. Believe it or not, if you are more flexible, you might want your feet a little closer on this one, okay? So hands at the hips, we're gonna lift up through the chest, bend from the hinge of the hip. What that means is we're bending from that place where the femur meets the pelvis, not in the back. You'll never go far that way, okay? So bend from the hinge of the hips, hands down on the ground if you can touch. Inhale and exhale, head comes down, okay? So if your elbows don't quite bend, you're just gonna hang out here. You can even bend your knees a little bit. Otherwise, you can begin to straighten the knees and then start to walk the hands back. And then the elbows are in the same plane as the shoulders, elbows above the wrists. Head eventually touches the ground as if you were going to do a headstand here. Don't do that right now, but eventually that's where this would go. Straighten the arms, inhale. Exhale, hands to hips. Inhale, rise up. Exhale. Okay, big stretch out, big breath in. Now exhale, lace your fingers together. If you can get them together, you can use a strap here if you need it, okay? Inhale, lift your chest, squeeze the shoulder blades, and then we're gonna exhale, take the head forward, and start to draw the head down. Hands away from the hips. Deep breathing. Okay, fifth breath, we're going to take the hands to the hips first, okay? Then lift all the way back up. All right, step your feet together, all right? So from here, what I'm going to do is take my hands together behind me, okay? So you can grab onto your wrists, you can grab onto your elbows if that feels good. Some people might be able to take your hands together in prayer. That's a little bit more advanced, okay? So all I'm going to do is step the left foot back, pivot the back heel down. Now my feet are not very far apart, right? They're about maybe 2 feet, okay? Turn the hips towards the right, lift up through your chest, and then forward fold. Okay. So eventually the head would touch the shin bone. You can bend the knee just a little bit if this is really intense. Balance is also kind of challenged here. So really think about breathing and steadying in your foot, under the big toe, under the little toe, and under the heel on both feet. And that changes constantly, so just notice it. All right, so we're gonna lift back up, pressing through the legs, right? Swivel around, lift up through your chest, and forward bend. Okay, so I'm on the left side now. So my right foot is turned in about, it's a little more than 45 degrees. It's probably more like 20. Okay. It's pretty far in, but the hips are still gonna stay as level as possible. So the right hip's gonna wanna come up, roll it in. And keep in mind the breath, and keep in mind the foot. 3 points of balance. Okay, gonna lift back up, all the way up, swivel to center, release the hands, and step together. I do have some standing sequences where you're balancing on one foot, but I will save those for another day. For now, those are probably pretty good to follow right after the sun salutations, where you're really warmed up. You can go a little deeper, hold the breath in there, or hold the poses, and then don't hold the breath, let the breath flow. Hope you enjoyed, and I will do a